Home exercises for guest interaction, scaring with Sammy. And yes, I know that's not going to fit in my standard captions below. Anyway, so, okay, that works. So there are a lot of skills and techniques that we go over during actor training, but there's a lot that we can be doing on our own. Skills and techniques that we can be practicing and learning on our own before we even get to actor training. For example, for guest interaction, active listening, active observation, and indirect responses. Active listening. The idea is that we're training our brain to actually pay attention to and listen to what people are saying rather than waiting for our turn to speak. And what this will do is, if we're listening, we're actually hearing what they're saying, we can respond to them more naturally. We'll have a better interaction. And an exercise to practice this, it's very simple. Get together with a couple friends and imagine that each one of them has a secret that you secretly suspect, but they're hiding. And if they're hiding that secret, you are listening for clues that let you know that you're correct. So for example, if you think that one of your friends is actually 3 raccoons in a human suit, then when they're speaking, you're listening to them because you want to see if there are any clues that tell you that they're actually just 3 raccoons in a human suit. And you're paying more attention to what they're saying and doing. So that's what active listening is all about. You're giving them a secret, you're paying attention for the clues, and you'll find that you're actually listening to what they're saying so that you have better responses and a better interaction. Active observation. Basically, this is just another manner of training your brain to pay more attention to what the guests are giving you. You're paying more attention to what they're wearing and how they're moving so that you can create an interaction off of basically what the guests are giving to you. This is, you see this all the time. For example, comedians, this is a standard thing that they do. They'll find something and then they'll make a comment about it. You're wearing khaki pants going on safari. It's just the idea of taking something that the guests are giving to you and working with it and creating an interaction based on it. And this is great for the haunt because you have guests coming in all the time and you're doing your character thing and you want them to be part of the haunt. So actually responding to what they're giving to you will make a better interaction. And this is a practicable skill. You just go out to a coffee house or something and sit down, by the window, and then you watch people walking by. And as they're walking by, you take a look at what they're wearing and how they're moving and see if there's something that you can, latch on to make an interaction. And just think about it, write them down if you're by yourself. Or if you're with a couple friends, maybe you all choose somebody and then stop for a second and think about what you could say. And then this is what I would say. Oh, this is what I would say. This is what I would say. And when you're first training yourself, don't worry about doing it fast. Speed will come. We're training our brains. We're making these connections. So when you see something, just think about it for a second. How can I make this into an interaction? And since we're training ourselves anyway, don't go for the cheap insult. The insults, they're cheap. They're not really connected to a character or anything like that. See if there's a way that you can create an interaction that's part of the story and part of the character. Something that's just a little bit more interesting than an insult. For example, if somebody's wearing a red shirt, oh, I see the clown stabbed you already. There you go. Very basic. So practice it. Just get together with some friends or by yourself, by a coffee shop, watching people walk by. Pay attention to what they're wearing. Then start training your brain to start paying attention and making those connections. Active observation. It's a great skill for guest interaction. Indirect responses. As character actors, we need to be able to respond indirectly to something that a guest might say to us. So for example, if a guest comes in and says, "You're not scary," we don't want to give them a direct response. "Yes, I am." We're still kind of playing into their world. "You're stupid." "No, I'm not." You don't need to give them a direct response. You're in character. You need to be able to train your brain to listen and respond around it. It's going to be a technique called deflection that I'll go over at a different time. But for right now, we're training our brain to respond indirectly. And a simple exercise for that is called questions. You get together with a friend and they will sort of start a scene. They'll ask you a question. And what you want to do is, instead of answering that question, you want to take that question and sort of respond with a separate question, putting it back on them. So if they ask you a question, you respond with a question back to them. Instead of responding directly, you're kind of training your brain to be able to listen and move it around and go in a different direction. So that you're not responding, so that when you use this skill in the haunt, they're saying, you're not scary, you're not responding with, yes, I am. Scary, oh, someone's scared. What you're doing is you're deflecting. And the way to do that is by practicing training your brain to be able to respond indirectly, indirect response. These are 3 skills you can try at home, you can practice and have a lot of fun with. And these are home exercises for guest interaction. Scaring with Sammy.